Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Danny from Fitness with Dan, and today we've got a beginner's program. It's going to be 20 minutes long and we are focusing on the upper body and the core. So we've got 5 different exercises. We're going to be using a push-up plus, some prone swimmers, shoulder taps, reverse crunches, and an alternating side plank. So today's workout is going to be done in 2 sections. So the first section is going to be your push-up plus and prone swimmer. You're going to have 5 rounds of that. Second section is going to be your shoulder taps, reverse crunches, and alternating side plank. You'll have 3 rounds of that. And for everything, we're going to be working for 45 seconds, resting for 15 seconds. Okay, I'll give you guys 1 minute rest in between the sections. So if all of those movements seem quite familiar or quite simple to you and you don't need any coaching on them, skip straight ahead to the video. Make sure you get a warm up, but if you want me to go through them, stay tuned because I'm going to explain them all now. Okay guys, so push up plus or press up plus. Now we all know what a press up is. We're going to be doing them on our knees. As this is a beginner's video, I'll go through that very quickly. So all we're looking for is hand directly underneath shoulder and hips locked in. So my stomach's nice and tight, my bum's nice and tight, and all I'm going to do is lower myself as far as I can, push myself back up using the full range available to me. Now the plus part, what I want you guys to do is when you finish pushing up and your elbow straightens, I want you to try and separate your shoulder blades as far as you can without getting any of this kind of hunching going on, okay? So have a quick look. So I do my push up, I finish, and then I separate. It's like I'm trying to push myself further away from the ground, okay? So you can see it's just my shoulder blades moving. If you look at the elbow, it's completely locked. And if you look at the upper back and imagine the spine, it's not folding like this, like a cat-cow kind of situation, right? So that's your push-up plus. Prone swimmers, these are a little bit more complicated for the initial setup, but once you've got the initial setup, you're pretty good to go. Now, all you're going to do is lie down on your front, hands out in front of you with a little bit of a bend at the elbow, okay? Not too much, not 90 degrees or anything, just a small bend, okay? Forehead goes on the floor, and all you're going to do is take 3 steps before you begin moving. Number 1 is your toes, okay? You're going to push them into the floor. Number 2 is locking your knee, okay? So you can see my knee lifts off the floor when I do that. Number 3 is my bum. So if you look at my bum, I'm squeezing my cheeks together like I'm trying to hold a piece of paper. Now all these 3 things are going to remain there the entire time, okay? So all I'm going to go is 1, 2, 3, and then I lift. On an inhale, my hands come with me, and then I drive my elbows towards my hips and squeeze at the bottom, and as I release, I exhale and tap my head back on the floor. So watch a couple reps, guys. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it's really important to get the breathing right on this. If you've watched some of my other videos, you've probably heard me mention, and you probably know anyway, that when we breathe in, it excites muscles responsible for extension. When we breathe out, for flexion of the spine, okay? So the breathing is really going to support the range of motion here. The other quick thing as well, head position. Don't tuck too much, don't look up. So you're going to look about that far in front of you, just like you would with a press up, okay? And actually, last thing, when you lift up and you're going to pull, don't pull too sharp. So if you get your shoulder in the wrong position, you can damage something, okay? So go through slowly. When it all feels good, squeeze at the bottom. And what that squeeze should feel like is your shoulder blades coming together and you driving your elbow sort of into your ribs, okay? And you'll feel all of this light up. Okay, so that's section 1. Now, shoulder taps. So this is where we begin our core stuff. Same position as your press ups. Wrist directly underneath shoulder, and this is where it's really, really important to keep the hips locked in, okay? Because without that, we're not going to be working the right places. Now, what we're going to do is tap a shoulder, tap a shoulder. It's as simple as that. But what our real focus here is keeping ourselves as still as possible, okay? Because it is no good us rocking from side to side and doing this, because we are not really working anything here, okay? The real work here comes from controlling that rock. So you imagine you've got beer on your back, or whatever you like to drink on your back, and you're not going to spill that, okay? Now in terms of getting the right difficulty, obviously knees up is going to be harder, so on and so forth, but the distance between your hands and the distance between your knees will dictate difficulty a lot, okay? So if my hands are close together, it's going to be a little bit easier when I take a hand off the floor. If they're further apart, it's going to be a little bit harder, okay? And it's the opposite with the knees. If the knees are close together, it's going to be a little bit harder. If the knees are wide apart, it's going to be a little bit easier. So find a point between the hands and the knees where you feel challenged, but you feel you can keep that beer from spilling off your back. Reverse crunches. So I'll demo a couple first. Okay, so I was essentially just lowering my legs away from my body, and then when I was coming back in, aiming my knees towards my shoulders. So you notice when I came back in, my bum actually came off the floor because I'm crunching a little bit from the bottom upwards. Okay, so that's the kind of position we're looking for. Now let's just talk about how far you're going down and what you need to focus on. So everyone's going to have a biting point. Now our goal here is this, okay? This is what we're trying to target. Now, I want to be keeping my lower back flush with the mat or whatever you're lying on my way down. The way down is the hardest part, okay? Because the further your legs go away from your center of gravity, the more demand there is for pressure here and strength here, okay? So, again, look at the lower back. I'll put my arms out. So about here, I can still keep that flush by using this. Okay, if I go any lower, you can see I can now get my hand underneath there, and I've opened and relaxed and disengaged this. So we're only going down to that biting point. For me, that's about there. For some of you, it could be down there. For others, it's going to be just here. Wherever it is, that's where you're going to, okay? Last one, alternating side plank. So I'll show you how to do this if you're doing this on your knees or the full version on your feet. Again, it's a beginner's video, I'll do it on my knees as well, so don't worry too much about that. So from your knees, you can get your knees together, your feet together, and you're going to imagine someone's tied a rope around both of those things. You're going to be on your elbows here, and keeping those things together, you're going to come out to this position. Okay, so feet and knees are still together, and what I'm looking for here, guys, is elbow directly under shoulder. Other words that I've forgotten. Yes, this is the main focus. So gravity is going to make you want to do this. Your body going to drop, so you're using all of these muscles to keep yourself upright. Okay, so we want a straight line from knee, hip to shoulder, and no sagging, like so. Okay. And then you're going to roll over and do the exact same thing on the other side. Okay, so it's just roll, 1 second hold to stabilize, and roll. Okay, now if you're doing the full version, you're going to have your feet like this. The top leg is going to be on top, the bottom leg underneath, and you're on your elbow like so. Now when you swap over, you'll go onto your toes, and when you land, you'll find again the top leg is in front, the bottom leg is behind, and then we're just following the same thing. Okay? So that's all the exercises, guys. If you need to practice any of those, go ahead now. Make sure you've got a drink of water next to you and that you have done a warm-up. Let's get cracking. Okay guys, let's get started. So press up plus to start. Remember there's 5 rounds of this first section. So get yourselves down on the mat. And we're on in 5. Remember, technique and form is king, so go at a pace you can maintain good technique. Here we go. Press up and plus. Nice rhythm to the breathing as well. Remember, we're breathing in on the way down and out on the way up. Don't forget to separate those shoulder blades. It can be quite hard to do. It feels a little bit strange, and what most people end up doing is bending their elbows to try and do it, okay, and letting their hips go back. So try and keep the elbows and the hips where they are, both locked in, and just feel the shoulder blades separate. And you'll feel them come together as you go down. Okay, prone swimmers, so lying down, you can listen to me because your forehead's on the floor, you won't be able to see me. Okay, arms out, forehead down, and remember the 1, 2, 3 steps. Yep, toes, knees, bum. So, toes, knees, bum, and then inhale, pull, exhale, head back down. So some of you probably found that quite hard to coordinate. Really important thing, guys, is keeping the glutes squeezed above all else, because otherwise that raising up is probably just going to come from your lower erectors. We're trying to work higher up the chain. Okay, press ups. That's it. Inhale down, exhale up, shoulder blades separate. Good thing to think about, guys, is imagine a puppeteer above you. And he's got a string attached to your spine between your shoulder blades. And as you do your push-up, the puppeteer is going to continue to pull on that string. Okay, get ready for the prone swimmers. If you're still not quite sure, you can just watch this round. There's 3 more to go. Watch it, try it again on round 3. Okay, toes, knees, bum, all squeezed, and then okay, 2 rounds down. Alright, get ready for your press up plus. So the plus just works into an extra little muscle around here called serratus anterior, which is an extremely important muscle for helping keep your shoulder blade in place. And for most of us, it's quite a weak muscle. Not very often used too much. It's the one you see, if you were to look at a boxer topless, they all tend to have a really prominent serratus anterior. It's actually called the boxer's muscle, because when they punch, they're activating it quite a lot. But the average person doesn't punch every day, so usually quite weak. Good, okay. ready for the prone swimmers again. Yeah, you kind of have to, every rep, just make sure those glutes are squeezed when you raise up. Think glutes before you think inhale. Okay, 1, 2, glutes, inhale. Whew. Okay, 3 down, 2 to go. Alright, get ready for your push-up plus. Here we go. And don't forget about all the other rules with the press up, okay? Wrist is still directly under the shoulder. Keep trying to lock the hips in, or keep them locked in. Should definitely feel your stomach working. Okay, prone swimmers. Remember, take it quite slow through that phase and then squeeze hard at the bottom, okay? Because when your elbow is going from above your shoulder to below your shoulder, again, if it's not in the right position, it's not going to feel too good. Okay. Ooh. Okay, last round. Get yourselves into position, guys. Wrist under shoulder. Lock those hips in. Here we go.
Round 9.
Don't forget your breathing. In on the way down, out on the way up. Good, one more on the back. Okay, get yourselves down, foreheads on the floor, hands in front. And when you hear the bell, start with the toes, knees, bum. Okay, you have a full minute to rest, and then we're on to the more core section. So, drink of water. Now, breathing. So, we spoke about breathing, it does a lot of things, okay? So, we spoke about the whole flexion extension and how it assists movements and excites muscles responsible for those movements, which helps us with range of motion and other things. It makes it more functional. But also, the way you breathe will dictate how much pressure you have here. So particularly on the shoulder taps and the reverse crunches, if you're struggling to sort of figure out when to breathe, a lot of you will do it naturally, but if you're struggling, watch me for a round, okay? Because you'll notice I breathe out in a certain way at a certain phase in the exercise, and that's when I need the most pressure here. Okay, you'll notice I'm gonna make this kind of sound, which helps increase the pressure there. Okay, so same thing, 45 on, 15 off, 3 rounds, 3 exercises, shoulder taps. Here we go. Don't spill that beer. Nice, slow and controlled, guys. Remember, you can have the hands closer and the knees wider if this is a little bit tricky for you and you find you're wobbling around a lot. Okay. Cool, okay, so you might have noticed there I was breathing the entire time my hand was moving, and I took a quick and filled my lungs with air in that quick moment that both hands were on the floor, okay, because that's when I needed the least pressure, and you decrease the pressure when you breathe in. Reverse crunches, here we go. Okay, so for that one, you need pressure the entire time. And you may have noticed I took a small inhale at that kind of point where I just crunched and I was just about to start falling. And then I started breathing out again, switched the pressure back on, soon as I had to catch myself from that fall. This one, just breathe however's natural for you, don't worry too much about it. The demand isn't as big. So remember that elbow, it's got to be directly under the shoulder. Okay, don't let it come too far in front or anything, so be careful where you place it when you put it back down. Okay, right, so we're back to the shoulder taps. That's one round down. So now you've had a look at the breathing, you can try and see if it works for you. People do it a bit differently. Right, here we go. And now that we're thinking about breathing, guys, don't forget all the other rules. Hands directly under shoulders, body nice and still, movement nice and slow, and most importantly, pelvis locked in, no sticking your bum out. Okay. Squeeze the stomach, bit of a squeeze on the glutes as well. So you've got that sort of tuck, that Pink Panther looking posture. That's what's going to keep the pressure there, keep the spine safe. yourselves ready for reverse crunches. It's quite hard to time the breathing on this one, so give it a go the way I did it if you want to. If you found a rhythm that works for you and supports you enough here, use it. And remember, most importantly of all, find that pipe biting point, okay? Don't go so low that you feel your lower back come off the floor, okay? Because that means your abdominals are not supporting you anymore, okay? Alternating side plank. This round I'll show with the knees off the floor in case anyone's trying it and isn't quite sure. So.
Round 17.
Okay, one more round to go and you're done. Whew. Quick sip of water if you've got one next to you, and get ready for your shoulder taps. Here we go.
Round 18.
Good. Quick rest. We've got reverse crunches. Just for the record, guys, I wouldn't normally go. I'd breathe out like that. I'd actually shh or tss. But I know that's a really annoying sound for you guys to hear when you're working out. Hence the.
Round 19.
Okay, last one. Show you on my knees again. Remember, if you're doing it on your knees, get them both together and imagine someone's tied them with a rope. Okay, here we go.
Round 20.
With your pelvis as well, guys, you kind of want to imagine that you're in a sideways plank position or press up position, okay? You still want to try and keep that kind of locked in thing going on. We don't want too much flexion at the hip or extension of the lower spine. Okay, so stomach's tight. Glutes are a little bit tight as well. Okay, that is it, guys. Well done. Do whatever you need to do for a second. Have some water, have a relax, hug your knees to your chest, go into child pose, whatever it is. Okay, so I hope that went well for you guys. And thank you for joining me. If you found that video useful and you want to do it again, please like, subscribe, and click the favourites button so you can just go into your favourites and do it again whenever you want to. Have a bit of a cool down and have a great day.